There's a mistake you're probably making right now, and it's why you're stuck. I made it for 10 years straight. You're following someone else's dream without even realizing it. Let me show you how to fix that. My 20s were unrecognizable from my 30s. In my 20s, I pushed instead of attracted. I chased instead of letting it flow. The confidence that I showed the world didn't match how I felt inside. I would let such stupid things bug me, and now I just don't. In my 30s, I've let go of guilt, overthinking, and any other emotions that get in the way of being the person I want to be. Now, I don't feel any of them. I used to rush around feeling like I always had to be doing something, and now I'm way more chill, but I actually achieve way more. I put most of it down to 5 things I wish I knew earlier. 5 things that have created a life my 20-year-old self could only dream of living. And here they are. In my 20s, I would chase whatever version of success was right in front of me. I'd spend time with YouTubers and suddenly want a channel. I'd hang out with course creators and I'd start planning my own course. Every new circle I entered would completely redirect my ambition. I thought I was being strategic, learning from successful people. We all know you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. Your income, your health, your habits, they all level up when you surround yourself with high achievers. But I was letting this influence me way too much. Instead of figuring out what I actually wanted, I was collecting other people's dreams. Every new connection meant a new shiny goal, and I tried to chase them all. It got to the point where I was mapping out plans for a business I didn't even care about just because someone I admired was crushing it in that space. And then I thought, wait, I'm building someone else's life. So many of us do this without even realizing. But in my 30s, when I stopped and I actually defined what success meant for me, everything got so much clearer. I could learn from others without trying to be them. I could admire someone's achievement without adding it to my to-do list. I could actually choose role models based on where I wanted to go instead of where I thought I should go. So now I know what success looks like for me. Doing what I want, when I want, with who I want. I pick my influences intentionally. I can appreciate others' wins without feeling like I need to copy their journey. If you found yourself getting too influenced by the successful people around you, try this. Take a look at your goals and ask which ones are truly yours and which ones have you absorbed from them. What does success look like if you're not trying to impress anyone else, only you? I used to give people advice even when they didn't really ask for it. Someone would share a problem and I'd go into solution mode. You should do this. Here's who you should meet. Be making these 5-step plans that they never even asked for. If they didn't take my advice, I'd get frustrated. When they did things differently, I'd wonder why they just didn't do it my way. And it's so easy to do this. You see your friend's potential so clearly. You know how amazing everything could be if only they would do whatever you told them to do. But by doing this, you create hierarchy in your relationships. It becomes mentorship instead of friendship. Giving out advice creates isolation because it's judgment, and judgment is separation. People start avoiding you because they haven't done what you said, or because they just want an equal relationship. I was bulldozing in instead of understanding, maybe trying to prove how smart I was, until one day I caught myself on a solo walk with someone else's problem going round and round in my head for the entire hour, and I realized that I wasn't even focused on my own game. When I changed this, everything shifted and I could just listen, just be there. And there was this big relief. I wasn't responsible for their choices anymore. The next time a friend shared a big challenge, instead of jumping in with solutions, I just said, that sounds really hard. And then she opened up even more. So now I'm nobody's mentor. I'm not your guru. In my 30s, I know that I can only hold myself to high standards, not other people. And I let them do their thing. And I don't try to change them. I only give advice when specifically asked. And I make sure that it goes both ways. If you want someone's advice, you will ask for it, and so will your friends. Do you do this too? Notice how often you say you should and try replacing it with questions and understanding instead, and watch how much better your friendships become. Whenever I get a LinkedIn message from someone wanting to explore synergies, I remember how much time I wasted doing exactly that. I used to spend my days making calls, asking about collaborations, trying to get those big breaks. And in my 20s, my calendar was full of coffee meetings because I thought that's what building a business was. I thought it was all about knocking on doors until someone important finally opened one. I was trying to be proactive and I was trying to make things happen because I believe that that is what successful people do. They put themselves out there, they hustle, they chase down every opportunity. I thought that if I just met enough people, I pitched enough ideas, one would stick. But I was spending all my energy knocking on doors instead of building my own house. Each follow-up email felt more desperate than the last, and it didn't feel like me. And the crazy thing is that the more I chased, the less I actually created, because how could I build something incredible when I was too busy trying to convince other people to notice me? So one day, after another, let's circle back in a few months type response, I realized, what if I spent all this time actually creating instead? And honestly, when I stopped chasing and started creating, everything flipped. So I doubled down on writing my Forbes articles, and now they've been read 16 million times, and that itself has opened a ton of doors. I focused on building brand Jodie, and what happened as soon as I started doing that was the opportunities started flowing, and I didn't need to follow up anymore. People actually started following up with me. And it's all because I was doing the work, I was using my ACE cards, I was focused on creating instead of coercing. So now in my 30s, I build first and I connect second. What took hours of chasing, hours and hours of chasing in my 20s now happens naturally because I'm focused on creating value. And when I do reach out to people, it's as an equal. It's not someone asking for a favor or making a pitch. So look at your calendar right now. How much time are you spending chasing versus creating? What could you build if you weren't so busy trying to be noticed? I used to compromise on everything. In my 20s, I would take late dinner reservations when I wanted early ones. I would adjust my schedule to fit others. I even bought strawberry protein powder because my husband wanted vanilla and I wanted chocolate, so we met in the middle, even though we both don't really like it. It was such bullshit. I thought I was being considerate and being flexible. So we are taught from childhood to share, to find middle ground, to put others first. And when you care about people, you want them to be happy. But compromising actually makes everyone a little bit unhappy. You end up with this watered down version of what you really want, and so does everyone else. You're not solving the problem, you're just spreading the disappointment around equally. One morning, I stared at that disgusting strawberry protein powder and I realized, why are we both drinking something we hate? We could just buy 2 flavors. When I stopped compromising, everything got better. People respected my boundaries more. Things worked out. Instead of everyone being slightly frustrated, everyone got what they wanted. Most times there was an obvious solution that didn't need compromise at all. So now I say what I want clearly. I buy the chocolate protein powder, he buys the vanilla. I book the 6 p.m. table, they book the 9 p.m. I work when I work best, they work when they work best, and nobody dies. Look at where you are compromising in your life right now. Those situations where you're a bit annoyed, a bit resentful maybe. Ask yourself, what if you didn't have to meet in the middle? What if there was a solution where everyone could have exactly what they want? Everyone in your life should be there intentionally, not just because they always have been. I kept seeing people out of nostalgia, meeting up with old friends who had different energy, different priorities, who didn't match where I was going, and vice versa. So I'd be saying yes to coffee dates and we'd just rehash these old stories. And it felt like I should want to do this. I thought I was being loyal. I thought I was being a good friend. Like keeping these connections meant that I valued our shared history. And in my 20s, a full calendar meant success. But forcing these friendships was making me live in the past. What if the people who are right for one chapter aren't right for the next one? Because honestly, Every meetup left me drained. I was stuck in old stories instead of creating new ones. I was using up energy that could have gone into the relationships that were growing with me and me with them as well. There was one day when I met up with someone from school who I'd just bumped into, and we spent 2 hours just reliving old memories and old drama. Nothing about now, nothing about next. And that was because we just didn't have anything in common anymore. We just didn't. Walking home, I realised this wasn't good or bad, it just was. When I started letting these connections naturally fade, everything felt lighter. In my 30s, an intentional calendar means success. I spend time with people who match my energy, who get me excited about the future instead of pulling me back to the past. If I have to think before I speak, I'm with the wrong person. Real success is being completely yourself, no filters, no pretense. And that's what hit me. During that 2-hour coffee with my old school friend, I was editing myself the entire time. So now I don't see people out of obligation. I don't force connections that have run their course, and I've stopped feeling guilty about it. I have more time and energy for the friendships that really matter, the ones that are growing with me. And now my friendships are intentional. The conversations are deeper. Everyone in my life is there because we actively chose each other, not just because we have history. Just because you had amazing times with someone in your 20s, it doesn't mean you need to keep them forever. Who are you meeting out of obligation? Notice whose messages you avoid answering. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with different people and how much you're censoring yourself around certain people. You shouldn't have to censor yourself. So next time you get that "we should catch up" message, ask yourself, am I excited about this, or am I just avoiding guilt? So what I know in my 30s that I didn't know in my 20s is that your power is not in chasing, copying, or compromising. It's in being more you. Every time you stop doing things that keep you small, you create space to show up as who you really are. Your 30s aren't about fixing yourself, because you're not broken and you never were, but they're about owning who you've always been and letting that person out. They definitely are about this for me. Don't look for problems, look for who you are. So just because I figured this out in my 30s doesn't mean you need to wait if you're not yet there. You can start right now. Take one of these points and ask yourself, am I still doing this? What would change if I stopped? Don't follow me, go your own way. And whatever you do, be more you. Hope that has been useful. Hit subscribe for more unfiltered truth about building your best life, and I will see you in the next one.